Welcome, I'm Kirsten.
And I'm Leslie.
And I'm Zoe, and this is Gosport Grit.
Gosport Grit is non-political, it's not a moan fest, it's about celebrating Gosport and our aspirations, and filmed by the wonderful Annalise. Today's episode, we're talking about community and what it means to us. Leslie, would you like to say what it means to you?
There's lots of layers of community, but if you were talking to me as a retired police officer, community is about people feeling safe in their community, and that could be from a police point of view. So from your neighbourhood policing point of view, from about the environment point of view, that's a community that makes you feel safe. So good lighting, CCTV, we'll not go down there, we'll not have that conversation. So that community about safety of roads, but actually it's about people feeling safe in where they live. That to me is an important part of our community. That's my warm up for you. I might come back.
We can come back. Zoe, what does it mean for you?
Yeah, community is that sense of belonging. So that starts with your family, your neighbours. And it is that the individuals within that community shape it and support it. So it's that sense of belonging, I think, that you know your next door neighbour. If there's been snow, that you look after each other. So therefore you have that sense of belonging, and that you're able to have those conversations and that you shape your local community. So to me, that spans from volunteers, to individuals that work into the community, that you pop into the village and you go to the local shop or the post office and you have that chat, and you say hello as you walk along, and that people feel safe. So I think from the aspect of yourself, Leslie, to me, that's that sense of community, that sense of belonging, and safety.
And trust. Sorry, my voice went really high then. I think trust that everything is going to operate as it should. Yeah. That is being part of a community, isn't it, as well? What do you think, Kirsten?
I do agree. And for myself, I grew up, as I said earlier, my first working career was working in a bank. And I worked in another town, actually. I started in Fareham and then moved on to Havant. And then I came back to Gosport. And the difference then of feeling like you belong in your community was absolutely amazing. You get the regular faces. And now, as a councillor and a mayor, being out in the community, you see everybody linking up and supporting each other. So community, people, places and activity. And we don't realise how much activity does go on in Gosport, supporting everybody. There's a lot of people, including my mum, myself, that have found ourselves a little bit lost after my dad passed away, sadly, in September. But to get yourself out there, to see the regular faces and just companionship from just little groups around the town, it's just amazing. The support network we've got in Gosport is amazing.
It is. And like you, when I was mayor and it was during the pandemic, what the advantage of that was that it was very much Gosport focused. Yes. And actually how we connected to people was very different. So it didn't just rely on me going out, or you'd have a face covering on, so you didn't necessarily have those lines of communication. So actually how we were supporting each other, whether or not that was through online or community events that were done, in distance or out in the open, but it very much was focused on Gosport. And for someone that's lived in Gosport all of their life, I found aspects of Gosport that I didn't know about, and groups that I wasn't aware of, and the benefit that they bring and those volunteers. And I think part of our role as a councillor is that we gain lived experience and we also gain perspective, because if we're going to make decisions and want to contribute, to me it was very much about that.
Do we think that community has changed since COVID?
Definitely. I work with a group and we're trying to help loneliness, actually, because that's one of a big concern. A lot of people are quite happy sitting at home, they work from home, and then they find themselves needing to meet people. And it's not just in the age group of retired and elderly. It's like young people with children. We used to have a lot more toddler groups. So there's a lot of people now that keep themselves to themselves, but really they need to get out and find that network. So,
and also from an economy point of view, if people are working at home, they're not buying the coffee from the local shop, or whether it might not be here, they might be commuting. But from an economy point of view, if people are not buying their lunch, not buying their coffee, and sitting at home,
I would say there's a slight flip to that, because to me, I've commuted and worked most probably all of my working life outside of Gosport, and even now as a Hampshire County Councillor, I find myself in Winchester quite frequently. And I would say having the flexibility to work at home actually allows me to walk to the local coffee shop or the local post office or the local hardware shop, instead of being in Winchester or Southampton and walking to a Costa Coffee.
But also, if you're working from home, there's no need to go and get coffee. So I think it is a hard call. I think working from home for some of our neurodiverse, our vulnerable people, is a fantastic opportunity.
Oh, absolutely.
We've probably changed direction completely, and there are online communities, and that's a benefit. But I think community, like we've all said, is so important, and there's so many layers in Gosport. When you scratch the surface, there is a huge amount going on.
So can I just say, I think knowing all of us, so we're all local councillors. But I also know that we're all local volunteers. So I volunteer. I'm a chair of a multi-academy, have been for quite a few years now, and I volunteer in that role because of my passion for the community, but also my passion for education. So I think we all experience the benefit of volunteering, and actually how that, when we talk about what is community, volunteers are at the heart of that, and how those volunteers help shape decision making. So all those trustees and governors sat around that table help shape that decision making. I'm also a trustee for the Sea Cadets as well, and I also know we've got lots of friends of group. But maybe you want to, what are your benefits that you felt when you've done some volunteering?
So I volunteer at QA Hospital Radio, and it selfishly, volunteering brings you as a person so much joy. So for me, volunteering at QA Radio, it's like I've gone back to my teen years. I'm sitting in my room, I'm playing my records, but I'm not. And you're helping. So you don't know how many people listen to hospital. You might have 8 people online, but for me, volunteering in radio is actually quite not an emotional, but it's really important. Because if you stop one person feel lonely because they've got a voice at the end of the radio who's talking about them, talking about stuff that they can relate to, it's gentle. I don't talk about politics or religion. If I can stop one person feeling lonely for 2 hours a week, it's quite emotional for me. Sorry, it is emotional, and I think volunteering is, honestly, it does fill your soul. It's a two-way street. It really is.
I volunteered in Lee Hub. It was actually when I was a counsellor, and to be a counsellor, I think you can either input so much by not working. So I left, thankfully my husband looked after me and I could not work, or just worked part-time, and then I was working part-time and being a counsellor. When the workload of being a new counsellor, I wanted to get myself into it properly, so I left my employment and I would volunteer on a Monday, and it was such a great way of meeting residents in the area. And there's a lot of people come to the hub to meet people, to have a nice warm food, so we would all be there making dinner for them, serving dinner, and it was a great way of feeling part of the community as well. So that was fantastic. Volunteering within the community is a great way of making friends. It gives you a focus, because often you can sit at home and stupor a bit, and how do I get out there? So you get the benefits from the friendship group, from feeling valuable, and it's good for everybody. But a lot of people are unsure on how to start volunteering.
I think that takes me back round when you asked me what is community. It's that sense of purpose, and that's what volunteering gives, doesn't it? So it doesn't matter about your life experience. When you volunteer, it gives you that sense of purpose. So whether or not it's connecting with individuals, whether or not it's a feeling of giving back, and that's really important. But there is the two-way thing as well. And I think someone that chairs a multi-academy, we're always seeking governors and trustees. But actually, so you can have that conversation like with myself or with the principal of the education establishment. But one of the parts of the conversation I have is it's as much about what they want to give back as what we can give to them. So whether or not that's training, whether or not it's confidence, whether or not it's career experience of sitting round a board making decisions, and especially younger individuals that maybe necessarily are unsure about those environments. What you can build is start to build those really work skills. And to me, that's the benefit of it.
There's such a variety of roles out there, though. A lot of people think, oh, it's if you're volunteering, you have to be fixed on this line, but there isn't. You can do anything from building something to maintaining something, holding somebody's hand. So
befriending service is a classic example, isn't it? And it is too. I think ultimately, for me, my takeaway from volunteering is a two-way street. It enriches both people who are in that relationship.
It is, and I think the most, maybe if you want to dip your toe in the water of volunteering, I would say friends of groups are the best way of doing that. So whether or not there are friends of a hospital or friends of a park or a friends of a memorial, what those friends of groups, the expectation is slightly smaller. So therefore, whether or not it's a monthly litter pick and there's not the expectation that if you're not around, you have to turn up, or whether or not that it's you just show support or attend a committee meeting. So I think if my advice would be that sort of toe in the water is have a look what your local community is doing.
I think there is a volunteering role for everybody, and it's very much about your capacity. If you've got lots of time, you want to do like 2 days a week in a rowing, or if you can't do that but you can do a litter pick once a month, there is one. It is we're probably plugging volunteering, but actually since COVID the amount of hours and volunteers has seriously reduced, and they are the third army, they are the third sector.
The results they provide are amazing. You can see it when there's been a volunteer force sweeping through anywhere. You think, wow, look what they've achieved.
It's like a fresh
I don't think
coffee.
the town.
It is, and I think for us, being a community champion, so us volunteering is really important because you get to know the heart of your community. But I think the other thing that's really rewarding of our counsellor role is we get to show how we value the volunteering sector.
I don't think the town, I was just going to say, then the town couldn't survive without them. And in Gosport, I think we thrive on.
We do. Yeah.
I'm really proud of them.
Yeah.
So when we talk about community, I think Gosport is a great community, and we really, really need to celebrate that.
Yeah.
High five, sister. High five, Zoe.
So I suppose that brings us back round. If you were to ask me again, maybe of what community is, now we've had that discussion, do you think our answer would change?
Would our answer
definitely people?
Yeah.
People supporting people,
I think so. I'm going to pick up 2 of your P's. You said people and place. I'm going to add my purpose to that. So therefore, we've got three P's: people, place, and purpose.
And pride.
Let's
add
pride.
The pride.
I'm not going to add to this. I'm not going to add to the equation. I like a power of 3.
And it's a pleasure.
It is a pleasure.
It is a pleasure.
That's good because that makes it 5. You uneven.
And I think the other thing is that actually a community could be as little as 2 people. Or it could be the whole of Gosport coming together for something. Perhaps our Pride in our town, or the Marine Festival, that is a community, or the Sea Shanty. I mean, there are so many different communities and lots of layers, but it all makes up beautiful Gosport cake.
So ladies, as we agree, community is all about supporting everybody, volunteering and the people. And we all agree that Gosport has a great community and it's worth celebrating.
Absolutely.
It is. Please send us any questions and topics you want us to discuss. We've got some guests lined up, but if you want to join our community, please let us know.
And hit your like and subscribe button. This is Gosport Grit.